Okay, in this second lesson of conic sections, we're going to see everything about circles. In this first example, they asked me to write the equation of the circle shown in the figure. So if I observe the figure, the center of the circle is at the origin, and I notice that it goes 5 units up, 5 units to the right, 5 to the left, and 5 down, meaning that the radius of this circle is 5. So when the circle has the center at the origin, it will follow a general form like x squared plus y squared equals the radius squared. So the equation for this circle will be x squared plus y squared equals, and I notice the radius is 5, so I just square that number and it will be 25. So the equation in this case is x squared plus y squared equals 25. This will be the general form for circles with center at the origin. Okay, now in this second example, I have a circle whose center is not now at the origin. Now the center is located in 3 for x and 2 for y. So when that happens, the circle will change its equation. So if I have it before x squared plus y squared equals r squared, so we need to consider the changes that will take effect in x and in y. Both changes are in the positive quadrant, so in the first quadrant. Therefore, this will be x minus 3 square plus, and then for y will be y minus 2 square equals, and somehow I need to find the radius of this circle. One way of finding that is noticing that there is a point here where the circle is tangent to, and that line is y equals -4. So if I find the distance from 3, 2 to negative to 0, 3, -4, I'm sorry, the point is 3, -4, I notice that the distance will be -4 minus 2, the absolute value of -4 minus 2, and that's the absolute value of -6, which means that the distance is 6. So there are 6 units from the center to this point where the circle is tangent. So since the radius is raised to the second power, this will be x minus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 36. That is the square of 6. So in a general way, when the circle is not located at the center of the Cartesian plane or at the origin, the center of the circle will be located in HK, where H is this number 3 and K is this number 2. That are the coordinates that I wrote before here. Okay, now they asked me to find the equation of a circle with center HK and radius R units. Okay, this is the general form for the equation of a circle whose center is not at the origin anymore. So it's basically x minus h squared, plus y minus k squared equals r squared. Keep in mind that if one of these coordinates, either h or k, is negative, then the equation will change into x plus h squared plus y plus k squared equals r squared. That will change if and only if the center is in the third quadrant, in the second, or in the fourth quadrant, where either h or k are going to be negative or both of them. Finally, we have this problem where they asked me to write the equation for a circle with the endpoints of the diameter 5, 4 and -2, 6. So if I know that these are the endpoints of the diameter, I know the relationship between the diameter and the radius. So the first thing I have to do is to find the distance between these 2 points. And I know that the distance is given for the formula x sub 2 minus x sub 1 squared plus y sub 2 minus y sub 1 squared. If I replace the values of the points in this equation, I will have negative 6 minus 4 squared plus negative 2 minus 5 squared. So solving that root, this will give negative 8 squared plus negative 7 squared. So the answer will be, for the first part, 64, for the second one, 49. So if I add these two values, let me see, that will be 13, take 1, so it's 113. The diameter is the square root of 113. Okay, so the radius we know is the square root of 113 divided by 2. That will be the radius of the circle. Now, I need to find also the center of the circle. So if I have these 2 points, the midpoint, that is also obtained by using a formula that will need these 2 values, the midpoint will give me the center of the circle. So the midpoint is x sub 1 plus x sub 2 divided by 2, and y sub 1 plus y sub 2 divided by 2. So the midpoint will be 5 plus negative 2 divided by 2, and 4 plus negative 6 divided by 2. So the midpoint in this case will be 3 halves for x, and for y that will be negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So now that I have the radius and I have the midpoint, which is also the center of the circle, the equation will be x minus 3 halves squared plus y plus 1 squared equals the radius squared. So it will be 113 fourths. Okay, I evaluated this to the second power. Remember, that will be square root of 113 times the square root of 113 is 113 divided by the square root of 2, that is 4. So this is the answer I was looking for. Okay, now I have another exercise. In this case, they asked me to find the equation of a circle with center negative 4, negative 3, that is tangent to the x-axis. And also they asked me to graph that. So negative 4, that will be located in 1, 2, 3, 4. And negative 3 is somewhere. Let me do that with a ruler, please. Allow me to finish. That is negative 4, negative 3. So it will be at the intersection of these two segments. It will be there. That will be the center of the circle. And they said it's tangent to the x-axis. So we'll go up 3 units. That allows me to know the radius of the circle, which is 3. Okay, so I have the center, negative 4, negative 3, and I have the radius. Therefore, the equation will be, I said is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. But I told you that if these two components of the coordinates are negative, this will change. Therefore, this will be x plus 4 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals, and the radius is 3 squared, that gives 9. The part where I graph the circle, it's very simple. I take the compass, I place the middle point in the center of the circle and the other one in the x-axis, and then I just make the circle. Let me try, okay? Because for time, I really need to leave this, if I don't finish, as an exercise for you. There you have it. So that will be the circle. Okay, the next exercise now is find the center and radius of the circle with equation x squared plus y squared equals 25. I don't know to how many of you remind you about the first example I solved. since the equation is written in that form, we know that the center will be located at the origin. And the square root of 25 is 5. That gives me the value of the radius. So this time the center is of the circle is at the origin, and it will go up 3, 4, 5 units, and 5 units to every single side. Then you make a circle around that. This I will leave it as an exercise because I want to finish the last problem. Okay, the last problem is a little bit more complicated because now they give you an extension of an equation, and you will have to use a well-known technique that it's called completing squares to find the equation. Okay, whenever you know the equation is written like that, we're going to group the values of x together. So like this, x squared minus 4x, then plus y squared plus 8y, and the 5, I'll pass it to the other side. So I'm going to square the values in x, and I'm going to complete the squares in y as well. You have to remember that when completing the square here, you have to find first the x is, the coefficient is 1. Then the linear value is divided by 2 and squared. So the half of 4 is 2. And if you raise it to the second power, going back to this exercise, I'm sorry, there was an interruption here. I was telling you that we need to square both x squared minus 4x and also y squared plus 8x. So to do that, we find the half of 4, that it's 2, and raised to the second power is 4. So this becomes x squared minus 4x plus 4, and I have to add that 4 in the other side of the equal sign. And I do the same with y. Keep that in mind that these are two different expressions. So in y will be y squared plus 8y. The half of 8 is 4, and 4 squared is 16. So I add 16 here, and I do the same in the other side. Now, when factoring this, I know that this will be x minus 2 squared plus, and the factors of that will be y plus 4 squared. And if I add these three numbers that I have in the right side of the equation, that will be 25. So if you notice now, this is a known equation because the center of the circle will be 2 and negative 4. Why 2 and negative 4? Because the equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared. But since here is positive 4, that means that the coordinate in y is negative. And the radius is the square root of 25, which is 5. Therefore, this circle will have the center in positive 2, negative 4. That is the intersection of 2, negative 4, and the radius will be 5. So let me draw that. And with that, we have everything they will ask you on this set of exercises. Okay, so we just make the circle. Okay, and that's all. Please use this information to help you with the exercises and solve them on white pages. And once you finish, upload your work in the space provided for that. Thank you.